And we are live.
Hey everyone, it's Ultra Podcast Z. I am actually not ready. I don't know why I lied to JD. You ever see that meme where it's all like says not gonna lie, then lies? That was literally me.
You mean every like Republican right before they say something when they say like I don't mean to be offensive or I guess I'm gonna be politically correct or something. You know, they say that shit and then they proceed to just open mouth and insert foot.
Oh, that's one way to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hey everyone. Not to offend anyone, but no, I'm just kidding. It's like I actually I don't know if you guys have seen. We were talking about video essays before we went live. I don't know if you guys have seen the recent H Bomber Guy one about Tommy Tallarico. That video is hilarious, but there's a part in it where like he's talking about what Tommy Tallarico says during one of the interviews, and he's all like, "You don't even know how racist I can be." That's basically what I was thinking right now. I was like, I could be okay. I'm gonna shut up now. Now I'm just canceling myself. I'm not Manuel is not racist. Hey everyone, I'm Manuel, leader of Major Connection.
Hi, Manuel.
This is Ultra Podcast Z. I need to put that word live everywhere. What's up? And joining me tonight, it's Photaku. Go ahead and introduce yourself while I do this.
Hi, everybody. I hope that you're all having a really great evening and you're going to be in for a great show.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's funny because we're a little behind on some of the uploads because I was going to save some of them for the break because we might take a small break because the holidays. By small, I mean one of the smallest we've ever taken, only about 2 weeks. But so I might upload this between Christmas and New Year. So if you're watching it, hope your Christmas was great. And if for some reason I post this on Christmas Eve, then ignore that. I hope your Christmas is good tomorrow.
It'll be Christmas for someone, Manuel.
Yeah. Do they even know it's Christmas though? I actually love that song, and I saw a video. Apparently, some people don't like it. What's the word? Like slacktivism or whatever. Like people like to throw that around for that song. I guess nobody likes Bono.
Nobody knows who Bono is anymore. Nobody listens to U2. When they decided to have their whole ass album on a like Apple thing, I guess everybody was like, "Yeah, we're done with them."
Oh, that's fun. I forgot about that when like you couldn't delete the YouTube album.
It's kind of weird because it's not like you got some random assortment like when you get a new MP3 player and it'll have like 3 random ass songs on there because it's like, here's your complimentary 3 ass random songs. And it's just kind of like you got a whole like YouTube album, but like everybody was like, we don't want this YouTube album. It's so weird. Like it's so weird.
A long time ago, I bought my very first smartphone, like I don't know, 2009, something around then. It wasn't an iPhone, it was some random Samsung thing. But I'll never forget that it came pre-installed or pre-installed in it was Iron Man 2, I think. I want to say it was it doesn't matter, an Iron Man movie. And there was no way to delete it, but I thought it was so cool it was in there. I watched it once and then I was freaking annoyed. Why did I censor myself there? I was fucking annoyed because like the movie was like 600 megabytes or some bullshit. This is an older phone, so I'm like, that was like so many apps that I could not put on my phone because that movie would not, like, I could delete it, but then I don't know where the file was stored, but it would keep recreating itself. Anyway.
And recreating itself.
You sure it wasn't a Wolverine movie?
You sure it wasn't what?
A Wolverine movie because it kept recreating itself from a thing.
It's funny because like everyone, like Janet's been on. She talks about like all. I have not seen any. That's what I'm getting at, by the way. I have not seen any X-Men movie but the first one. So I don't. So my reference to Wolverine is just Hugh Jackman when he was still like cool. Is he still cool? I don't know.
I think so. I don't think he's done anything.
I don't mean cancel.
Like,
I don't mean cancel.
Ruin his career to make him uncool.
Well,
unless you really didn't like The Greatest Showman.
I actually didn't, but that's the story for another day. Didn't we? Oh, we talked about La La Land. Never mind. That wasn't The Greatest Showman. I have rants about
tomato situation. It's the same director.
Yeah, exactly. I have rants about The Greatest Showman, and The Greatest Showman. I love musicals, and And The Greatest Showman is like. Oh,
Yeah,
by the way, Manuel's about to say something really gatekeeping in a second. So yeah, The Greatest Showman was the musical that got a lot of people into musicals. And I'm like, you don't even know musicals.
Greatest Showman, the movie that everybody who did movie reviews tore apart because of its horrible portrayal of the real life character, who was a piece of shit person.
Exactly. P.T. Barnum was not a what the fuck's his name? Internet comment etiquette did a really good video about the ghost of P.T. Barnum, and it's funny because if you watch that video, he talks about because the ghost of P.T. Barnum is an asshole, right? So the ghost is making him tweet shit. By the way, this was a Christmas video last year. Was making him post shit like, Dave Chappelle did no wrong or whatever. And mind you, and this is happening in real time. Like, we don't know there's a video yet because he's filming it. So people online are like, what the fuck, man? I can't follow you anymore. Fuck you. And he's like, I'm not joking. I mean this. But it's supposed to be the ghost of P.T. Barnum making him do it. And then you don't know that until weeks later when you watch the video.
That was like an Impractical Joker's punishment.
No,
you just have to double down on everything.
It was such a weird meta moment. I'm not gonna lie, I was part of it. I was like, oh man, what the fuck? It's like you too. It's like I can't talk to you anymore. I can't watch this guy anymore. Like I'm done unsubscribing. And then later on when the video comes out, I'm like, oh, and people were even asking, it's like, is this for a video? He's like, no, I really mean this.
Oh yeah, and
yeah.
Sorry, Josh, I'm just gonna correct you on something. The Greatest Showman was directed by Michael Gracie, while La La Land was by Damien Chazelle.
Oh, my bad. It was produced by the guy who did La La Land. My bad.
It's okay.
Hey, support Tiffany?
Yes.
What's up?
Hi, honey. Welcome.
Oh!
Okay,
that's who that was.
I thought that was...
The other Tiffany.
That's my Tiffany, not your Tiffany.
Okay, because we have a Tiffany, and we had Tiffany on last week. So I actually thought for a hot minute that I just didn't up because I was telling JD earlier that I was kind of being lazy about making the titles of the stream. So I literally copied and pasted and just changed certain words from last time.
Was like awkward.
Yeah, I was like, did I not take Tiffany's name out? I was so confused for a second. We have Tiffany's,
Morgan's, Josh's.
Yeah, we have too many everything. Yeah, we don't have 2 manuals yet, which is shocking if you ask me.
Well, we don't need any more than 1. I'm sorry.
That is true. But anyway, so yeah, the whole point of today is not just a rant about random YouTube videos we've seen, even though that's what we've done for the past 10 minutes. It's actually to talk about some of the fucking big stories of the year we missed. Or more so the big stories of the year, because we didn't miss some of them, we just didn't talk about them. Like, I want to talk a bit about Elon Musk and Twitter. We'll start with that because I already mentioned it. But that's a story that I feel has never been right to talk about, not because it's like you don't want to talk about it, but because you know he's doing something stupid this second.
And he's going to add on to this whole saga.
Yes, and you want to wait till he's done, but it's like he's not going to be done. Well, eventually, I guess he'll be done if
he tries to find his replacement, and then he's finally going to resign and move on to the servers team, just like he said. Right,
dude. Did you hear about the super cringe thing where there was this one guy? Okay, he's scruffy and beardy.
That's bordering. He woke up in the middle of the night to record a video, drunk on like a liter of vodka, just because he didn't want Elon to lose a poll.
I was watching Hassan react to him. I did so I couldn't remember his name, but you say it's the quartering, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's funny. That sounds like thing. Well, except quartering's like, of course, like a racist asshole. But
no, he's fucking horrible. Like
it sounds like something
I only see him whenever like a movie comes out that I'm like, I'm gonna go watch that movie and gonna enjoy it. And every take he has is garbage. But I think it's only because somebody will always show up when he shows up for like something.
There's stuff like that, and it's funny because we talked about this on Drink Talk Roll of all things the other night, where it's like obviously there's like hate watchers or hate media consumers or whatever, but there comes to be a point when why are you even talking about these things? They're clearly not for you.
It gets him the clicks.
It is. That's what I'm saying. It's like
I don't understand.
You're not gonna like it, but you watched it anyway.
I don't understand why. Like, is this what? Like, I just think that he botted his nose because I simply think like he's on Twitter. Of course, Elon's just gonna bot his nose. But then I saw Hassan watch this guy react to him. I'm just kind of like, there's really motherfuckers saying that they make a late night video just wanting to like just dick ride on Elon. Why? Like at this point, like I understand that there was a point where they were just doing like the what's it called? Ooh, and what's everybody else saying? Racist, homophobe. Hey, how are you doing that? You're like the
I'm
things
typing
that you
it.
say get printed out right here. But like this point. Like by this point in time, it's not like the meme train of the Elon Musk is over. In fact, I don't know why there even was one. Remember when like there were these guys who went scuba diving and they were like trapped under a reef or something?
Oh, yeah, it was the
and this
kids
one man
trapped in the
was
cave.
like gonna go and save the kids, and all of a sudden you had Elon Musk going to Twitter and saying that guy was a pedophile.
Yes,
and was saying all this crazy shit, and I'm just kind of like, why? Like what?
Because they stole his moment of fame.
What moment of fame? That was the guy trying to like.
Because Elon said he was going to send like some personal like diving thing in, and it would help save the kids, but they didn't use that, and it was just other divers and whatever getting the kids out.
Well, Elon lies about everything.
Yes,
he was that petty.
Yes, he is that petty.
That petty. What? Either way, I don't know why we still ended up listening to him at that point. And even by that point, like the stories are coming out that his Tesla sucked. Like, oh my gosh.
Oh, it's crazy because like I'm kind of confused what I said live and what I haven't. I think most of this was stuff that I talked to JD like when we didn't go live last week. But like I didn't know who he was for years. I knew what a Tesla was. I knew people who had Teslas. I did not know that there was this figurehead in the company. I assumed there was, I didn't know there was, this asshole Steve Jobs who like heads the company. And then I kind of heard about this meme person on the certain anime fans were sharing, oh, he's sure the cat girl, oh, lol. And then I find out he's like this old, he's the richest man in the world.
He used to be. Wait. I think he finally lost enough wealth that he's not anymore.
Oh, hell no.
It's just wild. I'm like, how is this person? And like, I know there's the whole adage, like, oh, if you have that much money, you can do what you want. But it's like, it's not so much he's doing it. It's the fact that he has this cult behind him that supports every whim.
I think that he's kind of like a grifter, I think. But there's a part of him that's all like, oh, if I can like be nerdy, like if I could just be outwardly nerdy and stuff, like you literally can sometimes just get a lot of publicity by either doing like really crazy shit, or you could just like give little nods to stuff. And because he was somebody at the time who just happened to be wealthy and like part of a company and stuff, like you can see how memes easily built. Like there are some people who are genuinely just like people who know how to just like do things that are very buzzy, whether or not that buzzworthiness is worth a lot of time. But I think that is why. I mean, like, there's like a lot of people even in our anime spaces that would like just promote because of either having like a shirt with like a cat girl or something on it. And,
it's funny though, because like, I get those people, but they're not like ultra billionaires. Like,
no, I think that's the point. That was kind of the point. It's like when you see like somebody do something and you're just kind of like, oh, I didn't expect that. It's like it plays to your expectations. It has people talking, but like I think that was it. I think he just happened to be somebody who, and even with his money, he could market anything. Like he could boost anything that he particularly wanted.
He could fucking end world hunger. Like everyone keeps bringing up whenever he does something stupid. Yes, because whenever he makes a stupid business decision, everyone brings up, rightfully so, that because I forgot what the figure is. Don't quote me on exactly, but apparently you need $30-some-odd billion to end world hunger by 2030.
I think it was closer like 10, maybe.
Yeah, it's not that much, and you could. Obviously it's not that much, but relatively speaking, to somebody who has like 100 billion or whatever the fuck, he could have done it, But then he'll just like, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna go by Twitter instead. You know, like the worst business.
Billionaires are brain like rotted people. Like there is no good billionaires. They're either so stupid they make very stupid moves thinking it'll lead to more like fame or infamy, or they say that they're gonna donate money, but they literally donate money to a fund that they create themselves for tax evasion. So it's gonna be one of the two. They're either blowing off a lot of money or they're just trying to not pay their taxes.
Yeah,
I
so
remember.
I was going to say specifically, let's move on to the Twitter part of this.
Oh, so Twitter's funny though, because Twitter is first of all, it's the weirdest business decision ever. I talked about this before, but maybe because like in the US it's pretty big, but it's such a tiny service compared to everything else. Like Facebook is a fucking monolith compared to it. Everyone makes fun of Facebook. It's like, oh, it's a boomers. Facebook literally has like half of the world, you know, on it. Like literally. And that's not even the biggest social media site. I think YouTube is, or maybe TikTok is, you know, but it doesn't matter. There's a ton of them way above Twitter. Twitter is only big in the US and in like Japan. It has like 300 and some odd million users, which is like every other big service counts in the billion, or like in a billion. So it's just like there's all this importance placed on it, but it really isn't that important. And then he buys it and makes all sorts of weird decisions. Like, I'm gonna say this right now, and it's funny because Pleiades and Yaru, I'm calling both of you out. Both of you bought the blue check marks. What does that even mean? Because now, apparently, when he came up with it, and I remember these tweets, maybe he deleted them because he likes to do that. It's like, oh, we're getting rid of the serfs and what I forgot the other word he used. We're getting rid of the serf system, you know, on Twitter, and now everyone can be verified. But that's not true. There's 3 different versions of the check mark. I don't know if you've noticed so far, or I think there might be 4. So there's one that's like the old version of the check mark, which is like gold or something. And then there's like
I think it's gold for like government and business or something right now.
Yeah, actually you're right. There are 4. There's gold for government businesses. There's one for like you know, famous people who like obviously you don't want to take away from Stephen. Well, he doesn't like Stephen King, but you don't want to take it away from someone famous. And then there's a weird one in the middle where like you kind of grandfathered in because they gave it to you before, but you're probably a YouTuber, so it has that weird things like you might or might not be, you know,
notable.
And then there's the one you bought. So now, even though he was supposed to like level the playing field, he created more of a fucking tier system that ever existed. And there's people who don't have anything. And I'm like, why? And then there's people like Yaru and Pleiades who probably bought into the meme, which I don't know what to say about that. But
hey, the first day when people are just impersonating brands because they could was hilarious because of that.
Oh,
I will give them that.
That was the best. My favorite one was well, first of all, obviously I was going to say the Eli Lilly one, but my favorite one personally was when they made a fake Pokemon company. It's like you could have sex in the next Pokemon game, or you can fuck the Pokemon in the next Pokemon game. That was the tweet.
No, the Nintendo of US account
having
the Mario flipping everyone off.
Oh, there was a lot of good ones like that.
That's why that system doesn't work.
That was so great. It's funny because like that lost him so many advertising dollars, and it's all like, was it worth it, Elon? Was it worth it? Was it worth the memes? I mean, to him it probably is. It's so wild because like when this was all happening, he goes back and forth between like defending his decisions and then laughing about the dumpster fire that he's creating. You know what I mean? Like he's the one I think who said like, yeah, at least the memes are going to be good. And I'm like, yeah, but fuck you, you know? It's wild. And then it's hilarious because he claims to be a free speech absolutist. And I have this one friend on my on Facebook, funny enough, who is a mad Elon cultist and will share all these articles about like, oh, he banned all these left-wing things. And I'm like, oh, that free speech absolutism is going well, isn't it? And it's funny because he's only doing that now because a while ago he's all like, "Oh, I've decided that like when people say crazy fucked up things or horrible things, they can do that, but we're not going to promote it." And I'm like, don't get me wrong, first of all, you should delete it, don't just leave it there, but that's the right thing to do. But he's literally he's doing what everyone complains about.
He's doing the stuff that was already basically happening.
Yes,
that he complained about happening.
Basically, he thinks he could change things, and then comes on board, changes things, realizes they're the wrong changes, and goes back. I'm like, okay, you don't know what you're doing. And he fires like everyone left and right. My favorite one. Did you see this one, Josh? My favorite one was about 2 nights ago. We were getting ready to publish some interviews. By the way, go check out our new interviews with Miura AIM and BPM Ichigo Q. We interviewed some people at AWA. Miura AIM is a cosplayer, and then BPM Ichigo Q is an idol group. Check out those interviews. But when I was talking to the person who was approving the interview, she's like, "I don't know if you could post these anymore on Twitter." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And okay, it's funny because nobody seems to remember this. I don't even know if you had have been looking on Twitter that one day. To be fair, they were kind of wrong to begin with, but for about 12 hours, Twitter, all the Twitter official like accounts, including Elon Musk, were all like, "You can no longer post any links to any other social media sites."
That's when that happened?
Yeah,
yes.
It was like you can't post to your...
Like, you couldn't post Facebook, you couldn't post... what's the fuck's the big one? Mastodon? Mastodon's the big one because he's scared of Mastodon taking over. And
he's scared of Mastodon.
And everyone kept, like, all the accounts tweeted this out. People were like, "It's legal, you can't do that." Maybe it was, who knows? But I'm not, I think it sounds like it is. I'm no lawyer, but... Also,
EU regulations against that.
Yes. Because they're like, "Oh, at this point, you're no longer social media service, you're an editorial service or whatever." And I saw this and I'm like, "Oh shit, I don't know if I could post the interview." So I waited till the next morning. And by the next morning, not only had all the things was that policy no longer in place, they didn't come back and say, "Oh, by the way, we changed our mind. You could do what you want." They just deleted everything. And I'm like, what the? It's just like I felt like, and I even had to check. I'm like, I didn't dream that, right?
No, you didn't dream it, Manuel. Don't worry. And that one also produced some good memes, just using like the Power Rangers morphing sequence with Mastodon.
Yeah, Mastodon. I should get on Mastodon just to secure my username in case that is not just mine, but I mean A to G's as well. Just to, maybe we could actually get A to J connections, the right name, this time. It's funny because this is mildly off topic, but I made fun of our username before A to J info, and I noticed that when we tagged BPM Ichigo Q for the interview, their Twitter is BPM Ichigo Q _info. And I'm like, "Oh, look,
that's a funny coincidence."
Yeah, I just thought that was funny. I'm like, "Look, we're both the _info people. Follow our page." Anyway, but yeah, Twitter's been I will say this: Elon Musk was right. Like, it is funnier. The memes are great, but it's just terrible.
He's a terrible person who's never been smart, just happened to be privileged enough to have the disposable income from wealthy parents. And he
apartheid. Don't forget the apartheid part.
What happened?
Oh yeah, he got a lot of his wealth from like an
emerald mine in South Africa during apartheid.
Yeah, pretty much. Wealthy ass parents. Very controversial background as to how, but
it's always funny because he's always like, the self-made billionaire.
That's what every single billionaire says. That's the same BS every single billionaire will say.
I don't know, man. It's funny because like we talk about Twitter, but like honestly, I'm surprised he has this much time to focus on Twitter. Because I'm like, don't you still run Tesla? But isn't Tesla dying too?
That's yes, especially because he leveraged like his stock as part of like the Twitter buyout. So Twitter's like value is now kind of teetering with Tesla.
I literally didn't know until all this had happened, all the bullshit with Tesla, because I didn't know anything about Tesla. I knew I couldn't afford one, but I also didn't know that I couldn't afford one because the price is $69,420, which is stupid. By the way, we mentioned that before, but I didn't mention this any of the times. But when he was talking about making money on Twitter, he's all like, "We need to get people to subscribe to Twitter Blue. We need 69 million people to subscribe to make it profitable." I'm like,
you couldn't round it up to 70.
No, and you know that's not even a real figure. He just said that because it's 69.
Probably.
I'm like, dude, it's like, I don't know. It's funny because everyone's gonna be like, "But Manuel, you see it too." But yeah, I'm making fun of myself. I'm making I really think that he thinks that's funny.
Maybe he just thinks it's nice.
Oh my god. What, 69 is nice? Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, Twitter's a mess. Everyone go to Mastodon and fuck you, Elon.
We'll hopefully be there tomorrow if Manuel can remember anything.
Yeah, I'm already like, shit, I better get those usernames down before someone takes them. Especially mine, because believe it or not, every so often, like mainly on MMOs, I'm like, who the fuck is the other Alavic222 who took my name? Like, I get Alavic, I get it, because I took that name from something, but who the fuck is taking Alavic222? Like, that's some fuck shit right there. You need to get your own identity, mister. I know he's probably saying that to me. You know,
it's your doppelganger.
Yeah, it's other Manuels
the
somewhere in the world. What's the other big news? We'll probably come back to Elon because I feel like there's more to say, but I don't want to rant about, like, he's stupid. That's the long and short of it. I want to talk about AI art. What's your view on AI art, Josh?
What my view on AI art? What the
It's
fuck?
hard to say. Yeah, it's hard to say out loud.
It's just because it's the two A's. It's nothing but vowels. It'll trip anybody up. Anyway, so AR art. I think at first it just kind of fool around because it was still in its learning stages. It was just kind of something funny. So like when it would spit something out that was good, like about a year or two ago, we'd be like, "Oh, hey, that looks pretty good." But now that it's come to a point where they've fed it so many things that things look, well, so many things that the art it makes like looks pretty decent now. I agree with artists that this can definitely encroach upon the scene if like the people who love already like making movies and stuff, but just by following a particular popular trend and they need like some sort of like background to just kind of follow. Like I think what's it called Phil DeFranco, he said that he had asked an algorithm to write him a story about him and like machines, and like it read this whole ass like it made this whole ass like script, well, like this huge story for him. It essentially made up a story with just some things that he threw at it, and then he asked. He also got AI art to like also make artwork to go along with the stills of the story.
He made a book.
Kind of, yeah. He like essentially he made a book, kind of like a little short story synopsis with like artwork to go along with it, but it pretty much broke down the entire summary of the story itself. And like to me, I feel that if I am an executive who might just need to, kind of crap out a script that I can like, one that I didn't necessarily want to like make. I didn't have a story to tell, but I felt like, could I make something generic? And then I would give it over to like a director to work kind of from there and stuff. And it kind of looks like there's like a lot of work that gets taken away. So like, let's just say that there's like nepotism that comes into play. So there's like, everybody's just going to be kind of like, oh, I got a story. I want to get like this one guy that I know to go for this role in particular. I feel that if you're able to get like, if you like don't even have the need for like a writer or even like storyboard or a what's it called, like an editor, like there's a lot of things where you can just kind of knock out of the park. And if you're somebody who's just kind of like, if I have decent enough people, maybe I can make something that people will enjoy. I mean, like Avatar, but once again, there's a limit. There's a limit. I bring up Avatar because the story is just dances with wolves. Okay, like that's just the first one. The first one is essentially Dances with Wolves or Pocahontas or whatever. And the only thing that made Avatar great was that James Cameron he like invested a lot into the 3D like of the time.
And
And
the
I haven't seen the
CGI
new
at the
one,
time.
but my friend told me that like with the 10 years, you could see that he's dedicated to make it look good. So I'm not saying that artists are completely screwed, but it does look like for like let's say somebody wants to copy James Cameron's Avatar, they're gonna feed the AI. AI is gonna spit something out. They're gonna say, "I know this person knows this
They're gonna
person."
spit out Dance of the Wolves too.
You know, it's like you could competently make something good, but at the end of the day, this can definitely take away from the process of people who are trying to get into the industry, or more so try to justify like this is what I do for a living. And like there's plenty of people who are just gonna be kind of like, I don't want to pay like an artist X amount because they'll say something very devaluing about it, and it happens. But I do not think that this is something that's gonna like completely knock people who do visual art or graphic art and stuff like that out. But I do feel like there is definitely like there's definitely some room for abuse, and I think that based on something that happened at a prior con with a well-known hated group of people, I think we'll get into like where this can really get into like bad territory, and especially when there's so many like artists out, like so many people who like get out booths at the artist alleys, like at anime cons, that actually put themselves out there with all their stuff. And when you have an algorithm that could potentially be stealing art when it puts it together, like yeah. Thank you for letting me go on my
time.
That's fine.
Long thing.
I'm going to say some things that I don't know if they're controversial. Actually, I know they're controversial. I'm going to try to say them in a way that I don't come out wrong. First of all, just to clarify from a minute ago, I will name that group. It's longtime friend of A to J Connection, heavy sarcasm, longtime friend of A to J Connection, Arcane Maid Cafe, and their partners who are selling AI art at AXGB. I just want to name drop them. Yes, it was them, and some of their parent companies actually help run ALA stuff, and then ALA got like dragged into it because apparently some other AI art was used for ALA's promo images or whatever. And I'm going to say this fun fact: I don't know art. I don't know art at all. I don't have a drawing, artistic, that kind of creative art bone in my body. I don't have that kind of creative bone in my body. Period. Like visual arts. Now, with that said, I don't know if my eye doesn't catch it, but whenever people are like, "Oh, this is clearly AI art," I can't tell the difference. So I always find that funny, where it's like, how can you tell? And part of it's always
we're at that point now where it's kind of hard to spot it, but like there's enough people that when you're in the artist industry, you could eventually see that where they could have gotten some things from. But this is more from people who are like artists who are having art spit out that they'll like take a closer look at just to see kind of like where do I believe these influences could have come from. Because a lot of the AI art, I feel like depending on what type of style you're looking for, it'll be very synergistic and will feed you. Sometimes they'll have some really like, not everything is going to look perfect necessarily, but it's like come to a point where like I could agree, like there's times where I'm just kind of like, wow, that was made by a machine, holy crap. Especially with how I feel with where the technology is now.
Yeah, and let me tell you, let me say first. Oh, go ahead, JD.
I would say I know at least one area where like if you're trying to tell if it's AI or not, sometimes it's around the hands, like fingers and hands seem to be like a really weird issue for that. So if you see like too many fingers or like really weirdly misshapen fingers,
everywhere, what's it called? Everywhere, everything all at once, kind of. Those fingers.
It's funny because now, first of all, I want to clarify that whatever I'm about to say next, I still think selling AI art, God, selling that kind of art.
It's the vowels. It's the vowels, man.
Selling it is unethical. Now, on the other hand, it's funny because Josh actually, like, we didn't talk about this beforehand. Josh basically outlined part of what I was thinking about, like some things you could use AI art for practically. Like he mentioned storyboards. It's funny because I was thinking that exact thing. Like, like we've been talking about doing some certain kind of like movie projects all the time, like, at work and whatever, and it's always like we could just feed this to an algorithm and they could like print this thing out. Like I don't mean like, and I mean like if we're doing a big production, it's like, well, a decent movie. It's like I want to block an action scene. I'll let AI art do it for me, and then I'll see what it does. And then maybe I'll use it, maybe I won't. Is that unethical? I don't know.
I feel like I'm saying that if we're feeding into like nepotism, I'm worried about the abuse. If we're talking about just like people selling AI art or promoting using AI art to what's it called? Like you're selling the AI art to somebody or you're using it for like a competition, I think we already get that that's unethical.
Mhm.
But the other side, I kind of feel like it depends with just who's using it. Like, let's say that you're a person who struggles with storyboarding. You're a person who struggles with just putting pencil to paper. Like maybe you have like writer's block or something, and you end up using this particular item so that you could get like, oh, I like how this comes out. Now, if it's on a higher level, I get why it's just kind of like shit. Like this is ripe for the abuse, and you want to knock out somebody else. Versus like, let's say you're more like indie and stuff like that. Maybe you don't have the capital necessarily to pay for like any of the editor or having like a storyboard artist and stuff, because not everybody can do everything at once, unless you're like, I guess, Tommy Wiseau. But like not everybody can do everything like at once though, like natural, like, and it's good to have several eyes and stuff like that. So like I guess it could depend. Like if you want to use it to boost the strength, like that's one thing where somebody could argue like, it's like the cat's out of the box. You can't really like, or cat's out of the bag. I forget. Pandora's box is open.
Genie's out of the bottle. You can't put the genie back in the bottle.
You can't really like go back, or you're gonna like approach the situation like the same way every like doomer is like afraid of like technology, and you have to tell them like, no, Skynet would have already have melted us a long time ago if that were the case. You get me? It's but I do feel that when we're getting to those levels, like, how do we know when it's unethical? Like, I could be using it because I just want to get like some assistance with something that I'm working on, and it's like I fed the thing what type of story I'm looking for, and it just happened to give it back to me. I could always make the edits and stuff on top of that. But if I am like, I'm just going to be honest, because I felt angry about when they had the Amazing Spider-Man, the first one, which isn't a bad movie, but I just got very peeved when it came out because the Sony was going to run out of the contract, and Avengers was like barely coming out at the time. And I felt like it would have been cool if the first Avengers, like, all of a sudden, what if you saw like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, just kind of like show up and stuff like that.
You were about a decade too early for that.
I know, I was gonna say, like, that happened eventually, kind of.
It did. But like, there were a lot of people who were at first shitting on the first. They were like pretty much just like shitting on the very first. The first Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Simply because it was a power move made by whoever was in charge of like accounting or something. They felt like, we're gonna lose those rights when you make a movie, and going back to watch it, it looks okay, but like I pretty much still kind of feel like they needed to kind of spit something out. It's a better movie than I give it credit for, but I literally feel that if they had AI art, I'm pretty sure they would just get the guy who loves Venom so damn much he keeps trying to put it into Sony movies, that he would just ask that guy, like, hey, can you like give us a script or something? And be like, yeah, totally, I'll get you a script or something so we can just have Spider-Man. And like, boom, there you go. It was like they just did what they had to do something like that.
Hold on. Let me get this straight. Are you saying that what they could have done to retain the rights to this character, that because that is why people, these studios will keep like rebooting or keep moving along these like semi-dead, not dead franchises, you know what I mean, so they don't lose the rights. Are you saying that they could have made a better film if they used AI?
No. I'm saying they could have made a shittier film. Like the first one, I'll give Mark Webb credit. Like Mark Webb did really good with the character relationships in the first amazing like Spider-Man. Like, I'm saying that it's not as bad a movie as I first thought that it was, but I was just projecting. Now, I don't know what the hell happened with Amazing Spider-Man 2. I feel like that movie is absolute garbage, but like
Oh no, it's funny because like kind of similar to what you're saying. What I imagine happening is, I don't know if you ever heard of the Fantastic Four movie, the one that Roger Corman did.
Oh, literally, I was gonna say which one?
Rights. No, the retain the rights one from the 90s.
Yeah, that one feels like that was an AI. Like if at the time feels like that would have been an AI script.
That script would have been like I forget who the villain was, like the Mole Man guy or Doctor Doom.
I think it's Doctor Doom in that one, isn't it?
It was still Doom.
The Mole Man guy was in there too. I forgot his name. But anyways, he was a side character. That doesn't matter. The Ben Grimm subplot. That's what they would have done. They would have fed it who the characters were, what they wanted to have happen, and that would have been the script. And then when they fucking wanted the Human Torch to like do that really bad CG, like that looked unfinished, but I guess it was technically unfinished, but it's in the movie. They would have been like, "We're gonna have AI create the Human Torch. Don't worry, guys, we got this."
I think it's like they would have said like, what did the image look like, and then they would have been like, I guess that passes, and then they give it to their visual effects team, and the visual effects team are like, are you sure you want it to look like this?
It's like, we need it done by next week. Yes.
It's like, I'm pretty sure they would have looked at it and been like, well, we don't have to do too much, but they asked for this.
It's funny because when I was younger, I liked that movie, even though I think I bought a DVD of it on accident, not knowing it was bootleg from like a comic store. And I'm like, there's a Fantastic Four movie? And I just thought it was like the Captain American movie that came out when I was a kid, that I was like, oh, people just don't know about this one. But like, no, it's bad.
It's like, now you're not even gonna have those writers where you're gonna be like, why did they get these shitty writers for something? And now they'll just be like, oh no, it was generated by an algorithm. Like literally, that was a joke that people would make. They'd be like, this plot feels like it's just made by an algorithm.
Now
Guess what?
Really can
they can literally now make it from an algorithm. The only thing that will determine the difference is if you have a competent actor and good actor. I mean, a competent director and like good actors, and maybe a good editor, like just to stitch everything together.
Yeah, never doubt the power of a good edit.
Yeah, a friend of mine who also has been on UPZ, I won't name who it is, was messing around with the AI, like a script generator, like, I don't know, a text generator, I mean to say, where they were like, oh, I'm going to have it make me a fantasy story. So they like put a prompt about, dragons and this and this and this. And then it fed out a whole ass story, like a whole like outline of like, this whole thing that's going to happen. And he's all like, can I use this?
No, it depends on how you want to use the word use in that case. If you publish it, you can't keep the copyright to it because there are specific rules about AI generated stuff.
Well, at some point,
it's definitely pulling it from somewhere. Like, it definitely pulled it from somewhere.
Can't you change it enough that you can?
That's paraphrasing. That's borderline plagiarism. If you've taken any English class,
it's funny.
Says they'll say that.
English major over here who's willing to risk his whole, his whole credibility by.
Listen, like, here's the thing. There's gonna be people like the owner of Arcane who's purposely just gonna do the shady shit that he does, like sell the artwork at a convention, try to sell it to Anime Los Angeles as part of their promotion, which Anime Los Angeles is kind of a weird thing. I feel like when it comes to building a con, they do well, but when it comes to like certain things that they overlook, because I get it, things get pretty hectic, and you'll normally go for like people that you're familiar with. I mean, it's just no secret that people in cons just kind of like inherit positions from other people who are on the scene just kind of long enough where other people leave. Like that happens outside of like the executive side of things, but I'm pretty sure somebody overlooked the situation with the AI art that was being sold to them. That I've heard, I'm not 100%, but I heard that it was the Arcane Arcane made dude who.
The only reason I know that, and by the way, they'll admit themselves. If you go to the Anime Los Angeles website and you scroll to the bottom, I think it even says. First of all, I think it says like powered by Anifest. Anifest is
owned by the guy who.
It's the same company, yeah. But it's owned by Anifest, and I think it even says like website created by Anifest. So they were the ones who were like providing all the art, and I think one of the images was literally the maid, but they had just like changed the outfit. It was some weird shit. I don't know much about the art thing, but they were caught, and they tried to deny it, but then of course they changed the art, and
it's not the first time that they've like overlooked something like this, and that's part of the thing. You'll normally have people who like I said, if there's nepotism involved, And I'm not saying that it's always bad. Like, shit, I'm just watching, like, Hill House and all these movies, and, like, that's all the same actors just kind of chilling with each other. And when I see that, I feel like this is, like, a group of people within the same studio, the same way that I'll see somebody at, like, the same theater that make stuff I like. It's like, oh, it's kind of cool, you know, seeing people that are just doing the thing and, like, just, you know, having fun with it. But then you have the dark side of things where you'll have, like, people who just happen to know somebody that they can get into a position where they could, like, help create something. And, you know, ALA sometimes just has issues with how it does its PR. Like, even last year when it said, like, we're going to make vaccines mandatory, and then when they backpedaled, it wasn't because it was ableist. And I didn't care. Like, I was for just vaccine everybody, but, like, when they backpedaled, it wasn't because of somebody saying, like, hey, this feels ableist because what if there were some people who could not take the vaccine because they just recovered from COVID? No, they backpedaled because they were fed terrorist threats. So
yeah, they really were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might be time to move on to another topic. I just want to. We have been on this for
ALA a bit.
Okay, yeah.
It's funny because ALA has gotten some interesting stories around them. By the way, first of all, we're going to ALA. We're doing panels there. I actually love ALA, which is probably part of the reason why I'm going to critique them a bit. And it's not just about the AI art part. Have you heard about their Artist Alley table prices?
Okay, hold on. Wait, hold on. Before we move on with that, I think it's just important to kind of go along and just say that, like, oversight is just one thing, especially because, like, oversight is the thing. I get that. But when I was over at SoCal Anime, that crazy, like, dudes, you don't even know how bad that really was. If you
went to that,
I went to SoCal. When I went to it, here's from an experience standpoint, it was very nice. It was very chill. Like, being there was fun when you get to just chill with people. But from the people who worked it, like, from everybody practically who worked it, it was such a, like, it was loss. It was like such a hard loss. Everybody who joined that took an L. And Artist Alley at that thing, okay, not a big con. Artist Alley was $450. Artist Alley table. God. I was like, what the fuck? Like, that you don't even pay that much at ALA. Like,
oh no, that's what we're gonna get at.
Okay, here we go. So what's up?
Fun fact, just real fast to clarify what SoCal Anime was. SoCal Anime was a convention that happened a couple months ago that I didn't even realize was happening until it happened. And, like,
because the marketing was bad.
Yeah,
marketing was bad.
It was a first year con that nobody went to. And they had some decent guests. Like, Amelie was a guest there, and there was a few other people. I can't remember who they all are, and nobody went. And I'm shocked. I didn't know you went. I actually didn't know anyone. And it was actually funny because, like, I didn't know you went, but there were other friends that I saw on Instagram that they were there, and I'm like, what? What con is this?
Terrence Pereira is saying it was a shit show. I think I only went Sunday, but. I only went Sunday. I enjoyed the Sunday, but a different friend of mine was following how the con was going, and on Friday it was, like, super dead, and like, they were showing everything. Like, Friday, Saturday it was dead, and even when I got there, I was just kind of like, even for a Sunday, this is, like, eerily, like, not populated even for the opening time. When I was there, I got to see what the Artist Alley was like, and I could see why. Like, the space that was empty, like, it was empty, like, for what they would have, like, what it would have looked like, because it's always good to just double check to just kind of see, like, what's the ratio. But no, it was empty. Even worse off, Artist Alley was completely cleared on last day. There was that whole building. I was just seeing people, like, just move everything. Some people left,
I imagine, yeah,
and other people just moved into the exhibit hall. So, like, there was essentially just the exhibit hall, Artist Alley together. Like, it was very nice. It was synergistic. There was a guy who, like, I don't know if he was given free reign to play music throughout the con or not, but there was this guy who was just playing banger, like, music throughout the event. Like, he was more banger than a lot of DJs at, like, Anime Expo and Fanime sometimes. Like, they'll have some DJs, but I swear some of them don't know how to keep things up after, like, they anticipate a drop. But, like, this guy, it was like if the Titanic was going on and this guy was like the equivalent of the dudes playing the music as it sank. Like, it was very cool. Like, it was I feel the vibes were good, but if you asked anybody who worked it, they were telling you the exact opposite. They were just kind of like, I'm just here to make whatever money I can.
Imagine at that point, it's like if you spend $450 on a table, which is a lot of money, by the way. In case you don't know what the scale of how much artists LAT. Actually, I'll tell you right now, in case you want to know the scale. A Anime Expo. Sorry, there's too many A's in this thing. Anime. I'll just try to say them full by name. Anime Expo posted their artist alley prices recently, and they are $515 a table. We're talking not only the biggest anime convention in the country, one of the biggest conventions in the country, period, anime or otherwise. And their artist alley table is $515. So the fact that this no-name first year con that that didn't have like anywhere near any attendance numbers was $450. That's insane.
Yeah.
Most of the cons, for the record, because I've never done an artist alley table, but I know this. I have a lot of artist friends. It's about the 300 range for like the smaller cons, and usually still sub 400 even for like the other big cons. So 450 is crazy. 450 is ridiculous.
I'd like to just like I've been to Anime Boston, and at their charity auction, they auction off first pick of artist alley tables. And it goes for like $3,500.
To be fair, one thing that is for charity, but also, I should probably point out that's for like some cons, and AX is like this too. I think I don't know if AX lets you pick it, but some cons, if you get a corner table, that could be like $800. That's a different story.
Yeah, like if you get anything by a door, like that is good shit.
If you're willing to let RNG decide your fate, then you could like. Typically, that's the normal rate. Like, still sub 500 for any con, really.
Yeah, but placement can do a whole lot, apparently, if you're willing to shell out that much even for charity.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's times that I'm walking through Artist Alley, I'm sure we all do it, where, like, especially when it's kind of crowded and I'm kind of just like, I want to get to the other end, and then maybe at the other end I'll look, because, like, now there's more space, like, you could go around the booth, I mean to say. But if it's a long nothing of like artists, even if I want to see everything, I might just start zoning out. Like in the middle of this long ass aisle, I'm like, I'm not seeing anything anymore. I'm just seeing, oh look, there's some anime boys. Oh, there's some anime this, there's some anime titties. There's some Pokemon stuff. You knew what the anime titties is.
Yes, I knew you were going to throw anime titties in there,
and so on. But the reason I brought up artist alley table prices is I knew about this for a while, but we didn't really know what AX was going to charge this upcoming year, so everyone was kind of waiting for that before they went off the deep end.
Yeah.
Anime Los Angeles is charging $550 for their artist alley tables.
That is quite the increase.
That it is. That's like $100 increase from last year, and I think that was $100 increase from the year before that, which is 2020.
I think that would make. I guess that makes sense, but
they keep jumping the price like crazy, and it's like, how are you more expensive than AX? A funny note is that I don't know if they sold out recently, but they still had artist alley tables up until a couple weeks ago, because they were still like, hey, get your artist alley table, we still have a few left. And everyone was, of course, reacting or like subtweeting about it, like, haha, look, artist alley. Of course you have some left. It's like every other con that size, because ALA is a pretty big con, it's like 10K plus. Every con that size will sell out of Artist Alley, and the fact that they still had them up until a month before the con is ridiculous. Now, have you heard the recent drama? Now, this one I'm not 100% sure on, but I've seen enough different people post about it, and when you hear what happens to the post, you'll be like, it's kind of suspicious. Apparently, if you book the hotel at ALA, some people are getting charged differently. Like they're getting, like they're. By the way, I need to check myself later on. You should check too. Apparently, people are noticing that, hey, my reservation. These are fake numbers, just so we could get the idea out there. My reservation was $900 all of the past 6 months. I've had this hotel booked, and I looked today, and now it's $1,000.
What?
And so people are posting about it, like in all like the groups and everything like that. And like, hey, what's up with this? And then someone's like, you need to call the hotel and fix it. So they call the hotel. The hotel's like, well, this is our rate. We don't really know what the con's doing, because it's done through one of those. They set the prices and it gets sent to the hotel later. So as of this point, it's the con supposedly changing the prices. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little like, oh, this sounds a little conspiracy theory. Like it's probably not really happening. But then when people, if you look at, I saw a post and other people were like, "What the hell? My price went up too. My price went up too." And then when I went back to go look at it, it was gone. And I'm like, "Why is it gone?" And then I saw a new post. It's like, "Why did a moderator delete my post?" And then that one was gone. So they are very clearly suppressing it for whatever reason. And I'm like, oh man, ALA is doing some weird. This literally just happened. Well, okay, I saw the first post a couple days ago, but deleting things in all the groups, including Discord and the Facebook group, started today. So, and I think if I'm not mistaken, the reservations go to the hotel like tomorrow or the day after. Actually, matter of fact, we're gonna do something real fast. I'm gonna live. Because I know what the total is. I've already split it up between my roommates.
Okay.
Live on the air, I want to check my hotel total and see if it's changed. Hold on. This won't take long. I should have got this ready earlier, but I'm going to do this right now.
Yeah, if this is a real thing, I'll be sure to actually let my sister know. She is actually responsible of my family's room for ALA.
Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? Have you ever heard of anything like that?
Sorry, what?
I haven't heard anything about that yet. This is the first time I've heard about it.
Okay. Sorry, I was paying attention to something else.
Oh,
I was thinking of Hell Shakeano. I'm sorry.
The hotel is basically ALA is upcharging the hotel. They're charging more for the hotels in the 11th hour.
Yeah.
And supposedly it's not on the hotel side yet. It's just the con doing it at this point. And honestly, that's the whole issue. We don't know anything. What did I do? Did I cancel my reservation?
What?
Wait, hold on.
There's a specific button that you'd have to do that for. What are you talking about?
Oh, it won't let me change it. I can't look at it.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
I'm not joking with you. I used to be able to click on to modify information.
Yeah, no, there's an option where you're able to check
anymore. I can't see my total.
What do you mean you can't see your total?
I literally can't. Oh my god. Okay, so that's a development.
Well, the glories of live streaming.
I'm not joking.
I'm gonna let my sister know about this.
I can't even modify my reservation anymore. I can't look at the total. I'm not making this up. By the way, the reason I thought I deleted it because I clicked on the thing on the spot that usually says "click here to modify," and that's when you see your total and everything. Because obviously, when you modify it, that total might change. But the thing I clicked on was to join the Marriott Bonvoy, which is the fucking point service. And so I clicked on that thinking that was going to change my reservation, but no, it didn't. The information's gone. It's gone. What the hell, dude? I'm not gonna lie. Now I'm actually a little worried now because I was joking with some of my roommates earlier, and it is true. We have $100 between like 4 or 5 people, whatever. It's doable. It's not gonna destroy our plans, but that's fucked up. And now I'm wondering if I'm gonna have to like get some extra money from everyone, which is annoying. That's fucking annoying. I'm not gonna lie. That now I'm kind of upset. Like that's really shady. See, who knows why they're deleting it? But they haven't said shit. ALA has not officially said anything, but they are deleting posts. And now I'm just like, yeah, Terrence, if you should everyone should look at their restoration later. My God, that's some good live reporting right there. But yeah, I love ALA. I fucking love it's one of my favorite cons ever. I consider it like our home con, even though PMX used to be for a while, because ALA has been very nice to us. They've given us guest spots. They featured us several times. Not only have we paneled there for like our first panel, well, what I consider the first A to J panel with like more than just me, was at ALA. And we've always done like 4 or 5 panels there every year. And I'm just like, I don't want to speak ill of them, but these are critiques worth having. And one of the big critiques that I was talking to people about is that a lot of cons operate under the pretenses of a nonprofit organization. Not all cons, but a lot of them do. Like AX is SPGA. I think Anime Boston, for example, like JD brings up, I think they also have the auspices of a nonprofit, like that owns them and whatever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Even some of the really small ones obviously run that way. Honestly, a lot of it is just to like kind of save themselves for tax reasons because you're not going to make much money. But ALA is not a nonprofit. They never have been. They've always been being run under like a for-profit company. So part of me is always just like, there's all these things on Instagram where like they're advertising the con on buses, like on metro buses, and I'm like, are you paying with those? With the fucking $100 you're charging everyone for their hotels, like, you know, the extra $100 now. And I know how much bus advertisements are because I looked into it at one point for something else. I was looking for marketing.
Your idea goes to it's definitely the room situation and not the artist alley. Like what they like if they are charging more in the artist alley, then one would think that they're using those funds to promote the event even more so that more people go. Honestly, I would imagine that'd be the first thing I would think, not the let's raise the price on the rooms. That sounds very shady.
Well, I'm not gonna. Well, I'm only gonna repeat it because this was one of the posts I saw that wasn't deleted because somebody posted on their page, not into a group. Was that some people think that it's just like, oh, they're just pocketing the money, you know? Because at this point, you're not spending it on marketing. So I don't know.
Every nonprofit that's not trying to actually help the planet is doing it for the profit.
It's funny because it's like, let's not get into this whole story, but yeah, one day we'll do a whole thing on AX and its foibles over the years. Because I have some stories, and I actually know somebody should be on for that. But man, I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually kind of worried. It's a fucking
like here's the thing. Okay, here's how you look at it. All right, the loss technically comes from because it's not like money was paid already. This is stuff that gets paid when it's there. Okay, so what will happen is unless they call up Elon Musk because they're all horrible people, they're going to bitch about it very hard on all platforms until something is done. PR nightmare could just lead to content because everybody can at that point just start saturating all social media with how this event is like Fire Festival or some nonsense because everyone loves to do that. Everybody loves to do that. You know, like overall, there's like the only thing that will happen is like this is bad just for the event because they don't want to like lose that traction. They don't want to be seen as anything that'd be less. Everybody wants to see it as a party con, but like there's plenty of people willing to drop ALA if giving enough incentive. Like,
yeah.
You know, I could easily say that another con that's going on the same weekend that might be more value for the buck could be like SAC Anime.
I was going to say SAC Anime, yeah. We have to go all the way to Sacramento for that, but I agree.
Yeah, like, I don't know, like, I wouldn't say that the location is my favorite, but there were a lot of people who are more than ready to, like, jump on the whole, my favorite location was Ontario, so why do I want to deal with, like, Long Beach's stuff, and especially if they're doing really shady stuff. Like, there will always be an alternative. Like, something will spring up that will just kind of go with it. So, if they act shitty, like, there's no way where it comes to their benefit outside of just the tickets that were purchased. Because like that would be enough where it's just kind of like, excuse me, I had my budget already set for this and you're gonna pull this shit. Like you can't do that. Like, you know, that $100 extra or whatever is because they're gonna put a deposit on my card. Like that's the only thing that would be regarding. Like there's no way that they'd be able to pull something like that off and not expect like the repercussions to be like immediate, you know. And that is weird. Like, that is very weird that that's going on. And if they're going to try and hide it, but not have results, like, it's going to be just world of hurt for them, metaphorically speaking. But, like, what's it called? No, I get you. Like, I'm not seeing the thing. I let my sister know, but she said she's gonna check it out like after dinner and stuff like that. But she heard about the rumor.
Yeah. Oh,
she heard about it, so she's gonna check into it also.
That's wild.
No, but it really is because that would be off. Like the only other thing that could happen is like I don't know if somebody was like, "Ha! I paid for my reservation with points and stuff like that." So it don't fucking matter. But unless they were like gonna be like, "Shit, I could use those points for like." Something else.
It's funny, not to get too deep in the weeds here, but when ALA used to be in Ontario, because like Ontario, like it has like 1 billion hotels for some reason I do not know around this airport that's really tiny.
I'd say the airport, like, but I don't know.
Like it has like but that airport hardly gets. I've actually flown out of the airport
As have I.
because a friend of mine used to live there, and like it's always like not empty, but it's always moderately not full. You know what I mean?
No, that's
Posture check.
putting it.
Oh, my back. Oh, support Tiffany. See, whenever I see that, first of all, I keep seeing that as soup for Tiffany, and I'm like, why does Tiffany want soup? And I keep thinking,
It's soup or Tiffany.
The A to J Tiffany. But anyways,
I should do that too.
Oh, my bad bag actually cracked. But yeah, ALA. Oh, like I was saying, there's all these hotels there, and at the time, some of the hotels would be cheaper if you booked not through the block. Like there were times when I used to book the hotel early just to because I knew that I can get a cheaper rate until before the con like locked in and changed some of the rates, if that makes any sense. And that only applied even to the big hotels, like the ones really close. Like all the other hotels, typically, like the ones that were like not quite quick walking distance, you could usually go to their own site and it would be cheaper than going.
Yeah,
through
no,
the con.
well, like you had a lot of like Comfort Inns and like
exactly.
Red whatever or something like that. Like, not sure if it was Red Roof or something, but like there technically were like even cheaper options available than what was a hotel block. The only convenience with the hotel block was trying to get something that was close by or something that would get like, be party wise. Which I went over during Anime Chibi, AX Chibi. The Ratchetson was out of commission. Like,
I forgot that's where that was. Yeah, it's in Ontario.
Yeah, no, it had construction and everything. So like I went over there to check things out just in case, but like no,
it wasn't open?
It wasn't open. Like they were doing like just construction stuff that they were able to get around that altogether. So like you want to either get like the Residence DoubleTree because they would happen to have most of the stuff kind of there since it was the closest. Holiday Inn because it wasn't too far of a walk, especially if you wanted to go to the Ratchetson but also not want to be at the Ratchetson. And then all the other hotels were like a bit more of a walk, but essentially, you'd want to get one of the other three, if not four. But
it's funny because JD's probably confused about the Radisson thing. When ALA used to be in Ontario Convention Center, the Radisson was a hotel that's like directly across the street.
I know what a Radisson is.
It was only the Radisson for like 1 year, but it was the most ghetto Radisson you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, Manuel, I have more than 2 brain cells. I could put it together.
No, it's worse than that. But the con would rent this hotel out, the entire hotel. I don't mean like they have a block. I mean there was no non-anime Los Angeles guests at the hotel. I guess technically you could book through the con and not go, but that's what I mean. Everyone's there for the con, and they would let you party in the lobby, like openly drink, openly do whatever the fuck you wanted. It was insane. It was the Wild West of anime cons. It was not gonna lie, I liked it, but it was probably a huge liability thing. And you had to wonder, that hotel was on its like it changed owners like 3 times in the 5 years it was like open and part of the con. But everybody would always just fucking destroy that hotel. And it got worse and worse. I remember like there'd be hotels that had rooms that had no closet doors. There'd be rooms the closets didn't open. Floors didn't have ice machines. It was all sorts of nonsense. Half the room smelled terrible. Like I got into a room and it's like, oh, this smells terrible, but I also don't want to move because like they gave me a close room to the lobby, that kind of shit.
I just thought that the room I was in, people were doing weed in there. I didn't think too much of it.
I went to a party. This is the last story I tell. That we probably should wrap it up after this. Actually, get some quick things. ALA was the first. ALA in Ontario was the first, and so far only, thankfully, the only time I've been to an anime convention, went to a party, and they were smoking crack.
They were smoking crack.
Yes, I do not mean they were smoking weed because I don't know that. No,
you're talking about crack.
Don't ask why I know the smell, but I walked into the room and I'm like, who the fuck is smoking crack? Because crack has a very distinct smell. You would know it if you grew up in the wrong neighborhoods. And it was like, what? It's like smelling bad weed. But it doesn't smell like that. But I'm saying it has a similar effect. You'll know the smell. I'm like, who the fuck is smoking crack? And I look, there's this group of people like that were like, because it was one of the first floor rooms that opened to the outside, had a sliding door. And there's people by the door, I guess, trying to smoke it outside the door so it didn't stink up the room. But there was crack at fucking Anime Los Angeles. And I'm like, what has happened to anime conventions? I mean, probably they've been smoking crack since Anime Expo 1. I don't know. But it's just like, what decisions has your life taken that smoking crack at Anime Los Angeles at the Radisson in Ontario made sense to you?
You're just not buying the big titty, like, waifu like figures. They're not doing that.
Don't spend the money on crack. Go fucking buy you a body pillow and like, maybe don't do that at the party, but go do something with that in private. Have you ever seen somebody smoke crack at a convention, JD?
No.
Hopefully you never do. I'm not gonna lie. No, the story did not follow with Manuel smoking crack next. I was just very confused, and they did offer me some. And I'm like, because I knew what it was. I'm like, what the hell? And I go closer, and it's like, are you guys like, yeah, you want some? I'm like, no. I ain't covered to smoke crack. I was actually kind of annoyed. I think I just drank kind of because I brought a bottle. It was a friend's room, and I brought a bottle for them, and I was going to drink some of it there. And I just took a cup or two, and I'm like, let's go back to our room. Like whoever I brought with me, I'm like, I don't want to hang out in the crack room. But anyway.
Oh, okay. Wrap up. Anything else you want to talk about? Like 2 sentences or fewer.
What are the big stories that we missed this year? There was Tommy Tallarico apparently has been exposed. The Amico guy that I mentioned, the H bomber guy video. What other were the quick stories, JD? I don't remember what they were anymore.
Neither. Neither do I.
Crunchyroll might be creating an anime con monopoly, but JD didn't want to talk about that anyway.
I'm just saying you were framing it incorrectly.
We didn't talk about the Bayonetta 3 nonsense. We'll save that for another day. There's a whole world of voice actor stories I wanted to bring up, not only because they get a weird bunch of flack because of the Bayonetta 3 voice actress, but I'm actually low-key upset, and it kind of goes to my whole argument about weirdly recasting things, and I know it's because different companies happened, but it took the Pokemon anime ending for me to learn that Ash is voiced by, I can't remember her name off the top of my head.
Sarah Natochenny?
Yes, thank you. And I want to remember her name because I think it's fucked up that I have never heard her name. And whenever people talk about Ash, it's always Veronica Taylor, who only voiced his voice, that's what you say, only did his voice in that, was it Deke? Whoever the fuck did that first dub, the early dub.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, whoever the fuck it was did that, Viz or whoever the fuck, they did that dub. And then it's been Sarah Natochenny the entire rest of the time for 17 years. But I swear to God, nobody people mention her, but I didn't know who she was. I've seen that anime, like I don't watch it like religiously, but I've seen it here and there, and I just assumed that was Veronica Taylor. Like I never, even as a kid, I wasn't the biggest watcher of it. So it blows my mind. I'm like, why did... It reminds me of the whole joke when Anime Expo had a panel of the DBZ cast. And this is a long time ago, and they had one Japanese, because they had the Japanese Piccolo, but then they had I think 3 American Piccolos, and there's more than that, by the way. I think there's literally like 7 or something, or English. Not
yeah,
American,
with all I saw panels like specifically the English dubs of Dragon Ball Z and like all the different ones.
And it was a Piccolo panel, and it was meant to be. It was, to be totally fair, they were kind of making fun of it. It was meant to kind of be a joke because there was 3 English Piccolos and then the 1 Japanese Piccolo. Because there's only been 1 Japanese Piccolo, at least as far as I know. Don't quote. I'm sure there has been.
Your roles in Japan are pretty much for life.
Exactly. So it just blows my mind, and I'm like, I'm just upset. I'm upset for Sarah Natochenny, and usually I'm not the person who's like, I don't want to say not defending the English voice actors, but that's fucked up. It's like, and by the way, no shade of Veronica Taylor. I'm not saying that she doesn't deserve the credit, but if she only did it for like a few years, why the hell would we
8
not
seasons?
Talking... Huh?
8 seasons.
8? How was that? How long's the show been on?
Since like
1997.
Well, exactly. That's what I say. Like, then again, I say that, but 25 years. Okay, so I said 3 years, so I guess it's probably more like 7. But still, we're talking like I've never heard of this other person. And I was even telling other people, and it's funny because like I forgot who, because she did a tribute, and that's how I found out about her. By the way, she did a tribute about like leaving the character behind. And if you go to the tweet, just Google any tweet about it, like any big tweet about it, go to the fucking comments. And I'm not the only one who has never heard of her. There was a lot of other people who's like, I thought it was Veronica Taylor, and people had to correct them and like explain. And I'm like, she was the voice for twice as long throughout most of the current run. And I'm just like, I've never heard of her name ever in my life.
Yeah, I didn't hear about her until she posted something like voice acting and doing different roles, like a year or two ago. Because she also does Ash's mom, and I think also Mr. Mime. So she's like everyone in that scene with the three of them.
That's wild.
So maybe she'll know the truth behind if anything's going on with
I was gonna say, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe that was the joke that she was making, but you just described a scene from a fucking hentai. So Ash was there, and he walked in on his mom and Mr. Mime. It's like, whoa.
Can you imagine having to be like, okay, here's the thing. In English, they'll just recast whatever. But in Japan, can you like imagine that sort of insanity? Like, imagine if canonically they had just one Japanese voice actor doing all three at the same time. Like, could you imagine
I think
the madness
Dragon Ball in
like,
Japanese, where like every male member of Goku's family is voiced by the same old lady.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
It's funny because like obviously not every show's the same, but in Japan it's usually more common to like, you know, have the cast all together, like, you know, working on things like in the same, not in the same room, but, you know, but together. Obviously, like, you know, most of the dubs around the world, not even just in the US, you get each person at a time, and hopefully you're the lucky one who comes in when everyone else is recorded, so you could bounce things off of another voice.
Yeah.
But in Japan, you said it happens totally different.
Yeah, Manuel.
We should do a whole voice actor thing. Yeah, we'll have someone on. Anyways, I think that was the only other thing. I'm just upset we didn't talk about that. And then
we can talk about that when we get a PA on.
Yeah. We can talk about the new Vic bullshit, but honestly, Vic's just an asshole. Just tell him.
Fair. Before you shit on Vic, to be fair, that would actually fit a lot better in the voice acting episode. That we can get it all together.
Let's talk shit about Vic then too.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say don't. I'm just saying that will be like a better like situation to like synergize it.
No, it's funny because like I won't name the name, but in the chat, Wes is like, you need to bring that one person you hate for the VO topic. I think he's talking about one or two people, and I don't hate them, but I know who you're talking about. A certain point. First of all, they're too big to be on here, in my opinion. Maybe they'll say yeah, but maybe they would.
No, everybody is valid to be anywhere at any particular time.
But I don't hate any voice actor. I don't want to. Just to reiterate, I'm not shading on Veronica Taylor either. Everyone loves her like gravelly Ash. Wait, something weird. Her gravelly sounding Ash voice, like I can't do it.
They can't all be.
I can't do that voice. I sound like a Marge Simpson, but
they can't all be like, you know, Josh Seth voicing Tai in Digimon. You know, like that. Most of the time, it was like women who voiced the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, if you're going to Anime Los Angeles, we will be there in droves. Like pretty much everyone you've ever seen on an A to G stream, except JD, rip. But Tiffany, I don't know if they have a unit name for their group. It's Tiffany, Angie, and Claire are going to be performing there. So please go to that. And then A to J ourselves will be doing 4 panels. I have 2 fingers. Four panels. Like a 5-year-old can't count. 4 panels. I will be hosting the 80s J-pop one by myself on day 1. Please come to that. I think I'm the first panel. Like one of the, obviously there'll be like 4 of the panels going on, but I think I'm the first panel again. So please come to that. It's a really great panel. There's some really banger songs in this new version. On day 2, we'll be hosting a J horror panel. No, sorry, let me back up. On day 2, we're going to be hosting the J horror panel with myself and Rose, and on day 3, which is Saturday, we're going to be, or Friday, look up the schedule, but we're going to be hosting the metal one with Warren, and then the JAV panel with myself, Tiffany, and Snacks. If you go to even the website has the schedule, like a2gconnections.com. If you go to like our event schedule, I actually already updated that, believe it or not. I was actually on top of it. And obviously ALA will have the schedule too. And please come to all of those. He's too drunk for the night. Thankfully, the JAV panel is on a primetime slot. It's on Friday at 9 p.m. So it's early enough that I won't be completely shit-faced, and early enough that I think we'll have a really big turnout because it's like prime time, like literally prime time. and we're gonna show some crazy shit at the end, and I'm gonna be disgusted, and I'm gonna go eat after that. So,
no, I meant more that you said you're saying you were the first panel.
You're gonna have some of this amazing durazno tequila.
Bring that. No, and I don't know why I have my emergency wine right behind me, but we were drinking. We have more bottles than this, but this is like right behind me. I'll be drinking the Targaryen House of the Dragon wine.
Does it taste like incest?
I was about to say that. It tastes like incest.
Grody.
But please come to all that shit and say hi and everything. I think we'll be tomorrow. We're doing the gaming one. I know UPZ's typically on Tuesday and it's Wednesday. That's because Warren had to cancel gaming tonight, so we're doing gaming tomorrow. And as far as I know, at this second, that's the last stream of the year. Obviously, the year has like another week. We've never gone this close to the end of the year before, so it's weird. But maybe JD will host a UPZ in between without myself. Just but other than that, UPZ will be the first to return on the 10th. It's actually not that far away. That's less than 2 weeks because it's not Tuesday anymore. But yeah, and that's a Tuesday after.
No, that's still 3 weeks.
Huh?
That's still 3 weeks from yesterday.
1, 2, 3. Oh, I can't count. Manuel doesn't know numbers.
Manuel, you were there when numbers were invented. How do you not know them?
Anyways, please come to everything and like, comment, subscribe. Shout out to Ed and Ken, the current patrons. If you join our Patreon, we actually have obviously the interviews are all. We're gonna have a couple more Patreon preview interviews soon. There's one I'm already working on that's kind of old, but I fixed it. And then we have a brand new interview that's going to be up hopefully before the end of the year, at least for patrons, and it'll be up early next year for everyone else. And there's already some exclusive videos and articles, all that bullshit. So patreon.com. Thank you, Josh, for being here.
I'm glad to be here, and I'm excited to see y'all at ALA.
Exactly. For everyone watching now, have a happy holiday and everything like that. For everyone watching on YouTube, have a happy new year, because more than likely Christmas is already passed. And that's it. Peace out. Thank you all for watching. See you next year.
Night, everybody.
See you next year.
See you next year.
Hope you have a good one. Unless I show up randomly, but yeah.